and welcome again to This is the English Skills and my creative writing 6-week course. We're already up to week 5 and we're still continuing with poetry, but today we're going to be looking at sonnets. So what is a sonnet? A sonnet is a poem of an expressive thought or idea made up of 14 lines, each being 10 syllables long. Its rhymes are arranged according to one of the following schemes: Italian or Petrarchan, or English Shakespearean. First we'll look at English Shakespearean and we'll look at Sonnet 147. My love is as a fever, longing still, for that which longer nurseth the disease, feeding on that which doth preserve the ill, the uncertain sickly appetite to please. My reason, the physician to my love, angry that his prescriptions are not kept, hath left me, and I desperate now approve. Desire is death, which physic did accept. Past cure I am, now reason is past care, and frantic mad with evermore unrest. My thoughts and my discourse as madman's are, at random from the truth vainly expressed. For I have sworn thee fair and thought thee bright, who art as black as hell, as dark as night. So we will chat about the meaning behind the poem, but first we want to talk about structure. So if you've not watched my first video on poetry, which was last week's instalment, which was week 4, then look back over that now, because this next bit might not make sense without it. So we're going to start with the rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. So the sonnet will end in a rhyming couplet. It's also written in iambic pentameter, which means there are 5 stressed syllables per line. And remember, each line is 10 syllables long, so the second syllable in a pair are stressed. My love is as a fever longing still, for that which longer nurseth the disease. So now let's start to look at intended meaning behind each section of this sonnet. My love is as a fever longing still, for that which longer nurseth the disease. That means my love is like a sickness that wants nothing more than one thing that will make this disease last longer. Feeding on that which doth preserve the ill, the uncertain sickly appetite to please. In other words, it feeds on the very thing that's making me so ill in an attempt to satisfy my sickening appetite. My reason, the physician to my love, angry that his prescriptions are not kept. Or in other words, my sense of reason, which is like a doctor treating my love sickness, is furious that I haven't followed any of his advice. Hath left me, and I desperate now approve. Desire is death, which physic did accept. That could also mean he's abandoned me, and now I know that my desire will kill me, something he could have prevented. Past cure I am, now reason is past care, and frantic mad with evermore unrest. Or, I can't be cured, and I don't even care. I'm frantic and anxious, constantly restless. My thoughts and my discourse as madman's are, at random from the truth vainly expressed. Or, I think and sound just like a madman, spouting out pointless nonsense. For I have sworn thee fair and thought thee bright, who art as black as hell, as dark as night. Simply put, because I thought you were beautiful and virtuous, but you're as black and evil as hell itself and as dark as the night. It's not only structure, but Shakespeare's use of language that really enforces the strong pain and emotions behind the emotion of love, and this idea of love sickness and how it can make you feel. Let's look at the other sonnet type with Petrarchan sonnets. So what is this sonnet? The Petrarchan sonnet, perfected by the Italian poet Petrarch, once again I hope I'm saying that right, divides the 14 lines into 2 sections. So it's kind of like 2 paragraphs in a piece of prose, but remember we call these stanzas. So we have one 8-line stanza, which is called an octave, rhyming A-B-B-A, A-B-B-A. Any ABBA fans out there? You will just see ABBA, ABBA. And then a 6-line stanza, which is called a sestet, rhyming C-D, 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 or C-D, E-E, D-E. So let's look at an example. That details the meaning behind the Statue of Liberty. But you don't have to stick to one or the other when it comes to writing sonnets. You can mix the two, and it has been done before. This is an image of world famous war poet Wilfred Owen. He's one of the most famous poets of the First World War, and he used the basic structure of a Petrarchan sonnet, so an octave, remember this is an 8-line stanza, and a sestet, which is a 6-line stanza for his poem, Anthem for Doomed Youth. But he decided to add a little bit of the Shakespearean sonnet, choosing a rhyme scheme of A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, F, E, G, G. So the familiar ending in a rhyming couplet. I'm now going to read Anthem for Doomed Youth by Wilfred Owen. What passing bells for these who die as cattle? Only the monstrous anger of the guns, only the stuttering rifle's rapid rattle can patter out their hasty horizons. No mockeries now for them, no prayers nor bells, nor any voice of mourning save the choirs, the shrill demented choirs of wailing shells, and bugles calling for them from sad shires. What candles may be held to speed them all, not in the hands of boys, but in their eyes, shall shine the holy glimmers of goodbyes. The pallor of girls' brows shall be their pall, their flowers the tenderness of patient minds, and each slow dusk a drawing down of the blinds. So, taking a closer look at structure, you can see that identified rhyme scheme: A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, F, E, G, G. The couplet there at the end really emphasising that last point. And then we've got the iambic pentameter. What passing bells for these who die as cattle? Only the monstrous anger of the guns. It's not the structure alone that makes this an effective piece of poetry. It's rather the language choices that Owen made. So let's look at these together. What passing bells for these who die as cattle? A rhetorical question there, and then the metaphor comparing the men, the soldiers that died in the war, as animal-like figures, cattle, herds. Only the monstrous anger of the guns. We've got the adjective monstrous to emphasise the anger, and anger of the guns is personification, because guns can't be angry, people can be angry. But can you imagine monstrous angry guns and the effect they could have? Only the stuttering rifle's rapid rattle can patter out their hasty horizons. We've got onomatopoeia, stuttering, rattle, patter, to allow you to hear the sounds of war, and the rifle's rapid rattle, the alliteration there emphasising these sounds. No mockeries now for them, no prayers nor bells, nor any voice of mourning save the choirs. We've got the emphasis of the lack of prayers, religion, when these men, these soldiers are dying at war. The alliteration there emphasising that. The shrill demented choirs of wailing shells and bugles calling for them from sad shires. The personification of the choirs of wailing shells. We've not got the church choirs singing here, just the sounds of the shells from the guns flying to and fro. And they're not just shells, they are shrill and demented shells. So the adjectives there painting that horrific picture or sound. And then sad shires, the people back home, the counties back home, the shires, and the idea that they're in mourning the losses of these soldiers far away. The alliteration there emphasising that. What candles may be held to speed them all? Owen starts his second stanza with another rhetorical question. Not in the hands of boys, but in their eyes, shall shine the holy glimmers of goodbyes. Again, alliteration there emphasising his points. The pallor of girls' brows shall be their pall. So the metaphorical pall there. A pall is what you would normally have during a funeral, draped over the body, the coffin. And then their flowers, the tenderness of patient minds, and each slow dusk a drawing down of blinds. The alliteration there, emphasising that common funeral practice where the blinds are drawn. So this use of language and all these language techniques create the idea of different themes throughout this sonnet. So what themes does Owen highlight? Maybe have a go at pausing the video here to see if you can find patterns in the language that link to particular themes before I reveal the themes that I've spotted. So let's look at the themes, starting with war. Owen witnessed the brutality and horrors of war. He compares the soldiers to cattle, dying in their herds with no ceremony and little comfort in their final moments. He's suggesting the promotion at the time of the glory of war is anything but glory. And he's doing this with the rhetorical questions. What passing bells for these who die as cattle? They're not dying a glorious death. They're being cut down in herds, like an animal rather than a person. Then we have religion, which is fed throughout this sonnet. The poem reflects Owen's loss of faith, some would say. He refers to typical customs of religious ceremony, such as bells and choirs and funeral practices, candles and flowers, and he's emphasising how the young men who die in war are denied these ceremonial goodbyes. He is suggesting religion is futile in war. And finally, death. This poem is a lament for the deaths of the young soldiers. Owen highlights the reality of life in the trenches, showing death to be bleak and harsh. He does this through imagery and sound to emphasise noises such as gun and shell fire. If you get the chance or you have the time, I would recommend reading more of Wilfred Owen's war poetry, as it's very effective and there's a reason why he's one of the most famous. But now, let's get on to writing our own sonnets. Sonnets lend themselves to themes of strong emotion, such as love, hate, tragedy, war, death. However, you can write about whatever you like. That's the beauty of creative writing. Most are metaphorical, allowing their readers to interpret them in their own ways, a bit like looking at a painting. So let's start writing. Follow on with this exercise to get yourself started. Number 1, choose one of the following themes: love, deception, death, tragedy, infidelity, or loss. Next, create a spider diagram to jot down ideas surrounding your chosen theme. For example, if I was going to pick love, I might put unrequited, first love, forbidden, so anything you can think of surrounding that theme. Pause the video here to write down your spider diagram and all your ideas, and then press play when you're ready to carry on. Finally, choose your rhyme scheme. Are you going to go with English Shakespearean or Petrarchan Italian? Or a mix of the two like Wilfred Owen? Whatever you decide to go with, happy writing. And why don't you put your finished sonnets in the comments section on this video, and let's see if we can get as many different sonnets as possible. It's great to put your ideas down for an audience because then you can get positive criticism. So positive criticism means people that can comment on your writing and try to encourage improvement. We don't want any negative comments. Negative comments might pull something apart, and that's not what we're trying to achieve here. So if you've got any ideas, or you're starting a sonnet or you finish it, pop it in the comments, and then I will try and give some feedback and maybe some critique, and then if we can all do that, then that's how we can perfect our writing. Thank you for watching. For our final session, we will be learning how to write my favourite poem of all, The Villanelle. So I'll see you then. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe and share this. And again, any ideas, any questions, just pop them in the comments section below. I'll try my best to get back to you. As always, I'm Mrs. E, and I will see you soon.